right, great. Thanks everybody for being here. We appreciate it. Next week we have the Foo Fighters here. We'll expect somewhere between 15,000 and 20,000 people. One of two Foo Fighter concerts, I believe, in the United States. So we're ecstatic about the opportunity. And so with that, though, the Foo Fighters and their tour has a vax or test policy. And logistically, it's really important that the community who's coming takes advantage of some of these things that we're about to highlight so that they can have their entry process expedited. So let's just go over some of this. Vaccination. Either a first or second dose must have been completed by September 1st, 2021, or a negative PCR or rapid antigen test completed after 7 p.m. September 13th, 2021. As far as proof for a vaccination, the Excelsior Pass or your original vaccination card, a photo copy is okay. And you must also show proof of identification, so your driver's license or another ID. The big thing that we're asking people to consider is the day before. So we will do pre-screening the day before on September 14th in the Orange Lot and at the On Center Convention Center from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. So if you go the day before, you bring your Vax card and you bring your ID or you bring your negative COVID test, we will then give you a piece of communication to show that you were pre-screened. That's going to help you get into the venue quickly. In addition to that, on game day, on the 15th, when the Foo Fighters are here, the lots are going to open early at 3 p.m. Our screenings will be also at 3 p.m. And then the gates to the show open at 5:30 and the show itself starts at 7:30. When you get here, there's going to be 3 levels of communication. First will be the pre-screening for the vaccination and the testing. The second is going to be security, and then you're going to have to go through security, and then the third will be getting into the venue itself. Speaking of that, everything's turning to technology. We ask for your help. Please have your tickets in your mobile wallet prior to arriving. Don't get to the line and start to go through your cell phone to try to pull up your tickets. We have 15 to 20,000 people we have to get through the venue, and we also have to check for vaccinations and through security. So please have that done. Ensure that your cell phone, the brightness on your phone is at 100%, so that the technology works with the Ticketmaster technology. And please make sure your phone is fully charged. The last thing we want is to be in a line and you got 10% left and you get there and it's all done. That is a problem, folks. Especially when we get the Foo Fighters here not every year. New bag policy. This is not new for this concert, but I do want to reiterate it. Clear bags will be permitted into the venue. They must be smaller than a 12 by 6 by 12 size. A small clutch is allowed at a 4.5 by 6.5. This does not need to be a clear small clutch, but that is important. Lawn chairs. Please be sure to have them out of the travel cases prior to reaching the screening area so that we can expedite the security and expedite that arrival. Any information, this is all on our ASM website for the Foo Fighters concert. But again, we are very excited about this. But the big takeaway is we've all been here on a busy show, right? You know, you're going to have some time getting in and you're going to have some time getting out. Now, this is our first real Vax and Test show. This is about living with COVID, and this is going to be something that we're going to be doing a lot. You're going to be doing at a football game tomorrow. We're going to be doing this with other events in the community moving forward. So please plan appropriately. Let's get out here to the Orange Lot the day before so you can get screened early, or get to the On Center so you can get screened earlier. The more people that do that, the quicker everybody's going to get through here, and it will get you quick into the concert much faster. Any questions?
So where is the money coming from for all of this, for all the services? Is it coming from the county? Is it coming from Live Nation?
Yeah, so again, ASM is our vendor who manages our On Center complex and manages the venue. Live Nation has the rights to the facility. So when you look at security and all these different things, it's a blend between the two entities, right? The county has revenue sharing and different aspects of this as well. So overall, this isn't necessarily more money coming out of the county general fund to do this. This is likely to be picked up within those two existing contracts.
Are you also hoping that people bring a digital copy of their vaccination card? Will that be allowed if they don't have the Excelsior Pass? Can they take a picture of their vaccine card?
They can. So and again, it's important if you're relying on your technology to make sure that that phone's charged.
Is there an option for people who don't have a smartphone?
As far as the
As far as any of it.
Goes, then yes, obviously there's still the hard copy tickets that are sold. You can get through that process. But again, as far as a vaccination card, I, for example, am a little bit old-fashioned, Terry. My vaccination card is in my wallet. And so if people want to have that with them or a copy of that, as long as you have your ID, that's fine.
Do you see this as kind of like a test run for future events and potentially something that could be implemented for other concerts here aside from the Foo Fighters?
Well, again, the Foo Fighters and the Jonas Brothers, they've asked for this specifically, and so obviously, if the artist is comfortable with that, that's certainly what we want to do. This is a big outdoor venue, as you can see, so the risk of spread is very, very small. But okay, mitigation is important in COVID, and I think what this really is, and why we're talking about this on Friday, is that hopefully people think about this and can manage their expectations. If you do not do this in the beginning, and then you're going to a busy, maybe the largest show we've ever had, depending on how ticket sales go, it's going to take you time in and out anyways. But now, when you have to do proof of vaccination or a negative test, get through security, and then get through the gate, that's going to take some time. So let's eliminate at least one of those steps so we can have an efficient process and get people in safely and quickly before the show so they can enjoy the experience.
So if you get pre-checked on Tuesday and then you come here on Wednesday to get in, does that mean you get in a different line than the people who haven't
Yes,
been pre-checked?
yep, and you're going to get sent right to security. If you go through security, then just right into the venue.
So when you get a wristband, what prevents people, what's kind of being enforced, what prevents people from just kind of being like, oh, here's my wristband and giving it to somebody else? I know there's security, but how are you preventing that?
It will be a unique identifier, and they will, again, we're not going to tell you what we're giving you the day before yet. You'll get it when you get it.
We'll know on Tuesday.
Yeah, if you go early, you're going to know what it is, but it will be very hard to replicate.
And do you foresee people, expecting longer lines because of this? Should people come a little bit early?
I do. I think it's a good idea anytime we have 15 or 20,000 people in this venue to get here early to begin with, and certainly we certainly recommend that as well.
So
is that a big bee?
It's a bee.
I might be allergic to bees. Let me know if I get stung. Yeah.
So it is up to the artist and the band, but are you kind of encouraging this? I know that it's definitely up to the performers, but
I think in a perfect world right now, and vax or test is becoming obviously a hot topic. If you have the infrastructure there, you should use it, right? The challenge is the testing infrastructure now. Only certain people can do the testing legally, and then who's going to pay for it, right? So I think those are the two things. I know I heard the president's order yesterday. That's a logistical nightmare, by the way. And I think if we can get through those logistics, then that's a tool that everybody has for testing that should be looked at. But right now, you have to be a certain EMT and a certain nurse to be able to do the testing. We have a shortage in both. So to make that an ongoing policy for society, very difficult. If it changes who can do the test, like it did previously in the first phase of COVID, that makes it a little bit easier. But then it's who's going to pay for it? Is the federal government going to continue to send more money for test kits so that you can have these events in society and it's not on the private business or the private person who's looking to get in? I think then maybe it's easier to do this model moving forward. But those are two big things that have to get addressed.
So going off of that, actually, this is a request from Connor.
Okay.
So just going off.
The fair's over, Connor.
The fair is over, but he is actually over there.
Yeah.
So can you just go a little bit more into depth about what you were just bringing up about Biden and the vaccine and the testing thing? How do you think this is impacting our local community and the county?
Yeah, so I want to see more details, but logistically, we've looked at our county workforce with a vax or test policy. We haven't pulled the trigger on that, and logistically, here's why. For your unvaccinated, if you're going to say you have to test weekly, you have to provide that testing as the employer. So for us, when we have 3 shifts doing many different things in many different locations, whether it's our wastewater treatment facilities, whether it's our jails, whether it's other facilities, who's going to come in at the graveyard shift and do the testing? Who's going to come in at the different shifts? And where am I going to get the people? So there's some things that need to change in the infrastructure before what is being talked about at the federal level is even feasible. Because that's really what you're looking at. For folks who probably haven't gotten vaccinated by now, the percentage of those you can convert is very small. So it's about then testing and how do you do it and how do you make that convenient so that you don't lose your workforce either. So these are all logistics things that hopefully the federal government's thought through before the order gets implemented, and then they provide those supports. The other thing too is who's going to enforce it. And so we lived through a first phase of a pandemic where the state would always say local government's got to enforce everything, but they never sent any money to do the enforcement. So we're going to cautiously wait and see. I understand the logistics probably better than any employer in this because we've been doing this for 18 months. It will be very hard to implement without more support.
How many tests do you have a sense for how many tests are being done a week just in the county in general right now?
Yeah, I think overall per week we're probably looking at anywhere between 15 and 20,000 that get reported through the state Eclair system, and then another 7,000 at SU that have not been yet reported through the state Eclair system. So certainly you'll see the testing pick up as we're doing our screening in the schools. If you see more and more large events like this where there's impacts some testing demand as well. But overall, I think the testing's increased, which is good, but it's still not where it was before, partly because, like we talked about yesterday, the people I could have doing the test themselves every day at the on-center before, I can't have them do it anymore because the emergency use order by the state has expired. If they allow us to do that again, we can build up more infrastructure and do more proactive community testing throughout the community.
Does a over-the-counter test count for entrance to the concert?
Yeah, that's the problem. It's who's going to give you the letter to confirm that. And again, those tests aren't in our Eclair system either, right? So that from a reporting standpoint of the test, but also the positive, we don't know what a take-home test ever does unless you self-report. So that will not count. Yeah.
So just to clarify when the test needs to be done by, you said 7 p.m. on the 13th. After that?
Yep. Completed after 7 p.m. on September 13th.
So people, if they get a PCR test, they might not have their results back in time. So they really need to try and find a rapid test then on the 14th.
Yeah, that's a logistical thing that folks are going to have to pay attention to when you're trying to time out to get your test in time. Talk to whoever's doing it and talk about what their turn times are.
And the rapid tests are a bit hard to find. I know on Monday there will be rapid tests that you guys are providing at the Civic Center, but there seems to only be one other area at Upstate. What do you kind of say to people who are searching for those rapid tests?
So this event has been Vaxxer Test the whole time, right? So you bought the tickets knowing about this. So hopefully they've planned accordingly.
And also, what are the times, so people can come on Tuesday, the day before the concert, what are the times that they can come to show their proof of vaccination?
So Tuesday, 11 a.m. to 7 p.m., either at the Orange Lot here at the amphitheater or at the On-Center complex. And then, again, the gates will be open at 3 p.m. On Wednesday for the show. So if you get here at 3, you're probably going to have more success getting through the first security and the screening, and then the gates to the venue itself open at 5:30.
So then people that are doing this pre-testing thing the day before or before the concert, are they also kind of encouraged, even though they're going to get their wristband, are they also encouraged to show up the day of the concert with their vaccination?
No, if you do it before, you don't need to worry about that on the day of.
So no backup or anything?
Correct.
Perfect.
Anything else? Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Thanks.
Thank you.